This is justice for all of the ICE agents that she just doxed. Say hello to Miss Tessa. And in case you're wondering what this anti-ICE liberal did, here you go.
Because if you didn't know, at the Frozen Water Factory, there's been a data breach. We now have pictures and names of some of these officers. I'm going to show all the Chicago ones that I could find in this video. I'm asking if you're from Chicago, please share this video so we can get this as many eyes on as possible so we can start identifying these people when they're not wearing masks. And
that's about it. She goes on to expose their full names with their pictures so that they can be identified, as if the over 1,300% violence against ICE agents isn't enough. And what I find crazier is
there is no absolute immunity for ICE agents. I want you all to repeat that. There is no absolute immunity for ICE agents. I'm a lawyer in real life. I don't play one on television. And I am going to break down what the law says and how these ICE agents can be held accountable. I'm going to explain how these ICE agents abusing citizens and immigrants can be held accountable. When Donald Trump and J.D. Vance say that ICE agents have absolute immunity, they are making that up. That does not exist. But I'm going to explain to you what does exist. So ICE agents, because they are federal officers, they do have what's called Supremacy Clause immunity. The Supremacy Clause says that federal law, the Constitution, trumps any state law. ICE agents may have limited immunity from state criminal prosecution if they can prove, number one, that they were acting under federal law, and number two, that their actions were reasonable under the totality of the circumstances. The immunity is not absolute. It does not apply if you can prove that they exceeded their authority, that their actions were unnecessary or unreasonable, or that they were acting based on personal reasons.
Yes, have you noticed the day Joe Rogan said what ICE is doing is not actually okay? They should go after criminals. When Joe Rogan said this, immediately he turns to being a good person to Libras. They are now praising him here and there. At some point, I don't understand. Joe Rogan is entitled to his opinion. He should be able to express himself. There might be things Joe Rogan don't understand when it concerns ICE operations. This same Joe Rogan, if you watch him over and over, he has been talking about how Democrats import people from different countries to increase their voter base. This is what Joe Rogan has been saying. Liberals had to figure out a way to, just pass their message. They cut out one part where Joe Rogan said what ICE is doing is compared to, it has been trending on social media on a daily basis.
I see both perspectives. I see the perspective of the people that say, hey, there was an illegal program moving people in here to get votes, moving people in here to get congressional seats, and we've got to change that. We've got to take those people that got in and send them back to where they came from or do something, because if we don't, they're going to keep doing it if they get in office again in 2028, and it's going to accelerate. And you're going to have to take away some of the damage that's been done.
Liberals will never show you this part. They will always show you this.
Does ICE not need to change what it's doing, but its tactics and how it's doing it?
Yes, absolutely. That woman could have been arrested after the fact, easily after the fact. My advice to Kristi Noem and to Homeland Security in general would be, if it gets to a point where violence may break out, you have to de-escalate it.
This is a guy who had almost been run over, but it just looked horrific to me. When people say it's justifiable because the car hit him, it seemed like she was kind of turning the car away. I can also see the point of view of the people that say, yeah, but you don't want militarized people in the streets just roaming around, snatching people up, many of which turn out to actually be U.S. citizens that just don't have their papers on them. Are we really going to be the Gestapo? Where's your papers? Is that what we've come to?
So when you lose these two guys, is it a sign that Americans, really most Americans, don't want this done this way either?
Yeah. When Joe Rogan is calling ICE the Gestapo, things have turned. Something's turning. He has millions and millions of listeners.
Almost 20 million.
20 million. And he's a very influential guy. I don't know about Bill O'Reilly, but Bill O'Reilly.
Yeah. Ooh, Bill O'Reilly catching strays. Listen.
It's not easy to prosecute a federal law enforcement officer. It's not easy to prosecute any police officers. In most cases where police officers are charged criminally, they're found not guilty. We know that. But there is not absolute immunity. This is how you and me can ensure Renee Good receives justice, because federal officers, federal law enforcement officers, they can be charged in federal court also. But do you think the current administration is going to do that? No, they're not. But in 2028, we have the opportunity to have a new administration, an administration that can review what the ICE agents did to Renee Good and what they've done in Chicago, in Charlotte, North Carolina, in Georgia, what they have done in California, what they have done all across the country. They can review those actions and they can determine whether federal charges, federal civil rights violations should be brought against these agents. And states can also decide whether or not to bring charges against these individuals. You and I have the ability to elect people who will ensure that there is some accountability. Juries don't always decide the way that we think that they should, but I am more confident in putting a decision about what happened to Renee Good.
What is more shocking with Libra is that they believe that Joe Rogan criticizing what ICE is doing, it means he is no longer supporting Trump or Rand Paul. At some point, they fail to understand that there should be moments like this. Yeah, maybe ICE is overreacting, or I don't know. They should be able to help their mind. But it doesn't stop the fact that Joe Rogan will always be who he is. I don't know. I've never seen a single day where Joe Rogan says, I'm MAGA. It has never been, right? Joe Rogan came into politics simply as a result of what they did to Trump, and it changed his mind toward these people. Seeing them now getting excited, like, oh, this is the way forward. Oh, this should, it get me to laugh, because these people will always be like that. I believe you saw the view, how they are extremely excited about the whole thing. There is something with Libras. The other day, the vice president said ICE agents are immune. At some point, it has become a discussion to Libras. Lawyers coming here, oh, they are not immune. Oh, this I've seen all kinds of messages, with these people. I begin to question, why are they doing this? Because they have been looking for a possibility where they can, persecute this guy.
I think Joe Rogan got the country that he voted for. He not only has 20 million followers, is extremely influential. He endorsed Donald Trump in this last campaign. And I think when you have a platform of 20 million people and you have so much influence, with that comes a lot of responsibility. And I think that he misused his platform.
Yeah, but let's not look at the past.
So the short clip, that is for the white algorithm. You can always skip.
This is the thing. You said gather around and say, oh, she's accusing all of the folks at ICE of being criminals. That is not what I'm doing.
This was happening in Minneapolis as well.
No one watching.
That we don't normalize what's going on in this country right now. I love America. I love us. I love our communities, free speech, the Trevor Project. And
my babies are upstairs watching. Y'all better be off them damn phones and watching me right now.
Bill Maher, you give us so much.
Yes, Globe for best editing goes to the Justice Department.
I'm a little in shock about that.
Maduro.
Let your hatred and
sit this one out. Well, these guys are paid, dude. And we
100.
There you go.
$1,500.
Let's see if they get the.
Well,
I want to see them get it.
But MAGA's going to break up because of Donald Trump's criticism of Robin.
Can sit at either place. Thank you for coming. I really appreciate
So you and your husband were friends with Rob and Michelle Reiner, and
everybody knew that wasn't true.
A dangerous relative as a likely suspect. A tip that led to her brother Nick. Rob Reiner and Nick had a heated argument the night back on his own. In one incident, she said,
We should have said nothing.
the United States to make no comment.
When
People ought to have.
Yeah.
Absolute horror.
Hi, Mel Gibson. I'm in Italy.
Obviously has an.
My God, Joe Rogan and Duncan Trussell